So, Bhaktyaloka series, we have been discussing the fourth of the quality, not fourth, the third one. Yeah, fourth one. Tat Tat Karma Pravartanat. And as Prabhupada in the translation mentions, Tat Tat Karma Pravartan means acting according to the regulative principles, that is Shravan Kirtan in the square bracket. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur initially mentions what are the activities by which pure devotional service is cultivated? That is Tat Tat Karma. And he quotes from the Uddhav Gita, these are these activities. And this same thing has been taken by Rupa Goswami and elaborated in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu as 64 qualities, 64 items of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti. So that's what. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur goes on to list all these 64 quality items of devotional service. And then for each of them, he starts giving explanations. So we have been seeing that explanations for each of them, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur is giving. So we were here in this one. Sadharma is over. And then Bhaktivinoda Thakur quotes this. Those who have this kind of determination to know Sadharma quickly achieve the desired goal. So that's what he says. So what is Sadharma? We have discussed. Now we'll continue our discussion from here where we left in the last class. The Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu says, Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadyanavritam anukulena krishnanu shilanam bhaktiruttama. One should render transcendental loving service to the Supreme Lord Krishna favorably without desire for material profit. Anya abhilashita shunyam. Or gain to fruitive activities of philosophical speculation. Jnana karmadya anavritam. This is called pure devotional service. Of course, this is a very elaborate discussion on pure devotional service definition, which we will not go into. But let us see what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is stating, and we will cover that. As long as this pure devotional symptom in the form of understanding Sadharma has not clearly manifested in the heart of an inquisitive person, his heart remains covered with darkness and he cannot know what is pure devotional service. So, this is a very important point. Sadharma. Sadharma means the dharma of the soul, Jaiva Dharma. If you are asking for, even in devotional service, some inquiries for how to attain a good life in this world or how to live better, you know. So all that doesn't constitute sadharma. That means your heart is still covered with darkness and you're still not able to know what is pure devotional service. So that's what it really means. I hope you're getting this point. If one depends on his own speculation, then unalloyed devotional service will not manifest in his heart. So one is about fruitive activities, another was about speculation. We meet so-called pundits who think that they have understood the constitution of bhakti by their knowledge and intelligence. Some of them have concluded that devotional service mixed with gyan is pure bhakti, and some of them have concluded that devotional service mixed with karma is pure bhakti. So the tendency to perform directly pure devotional service is very difficult because we are conditioned. We are conditioned by the subtle body, and the subtle body has unlimited vasanas. And the tendency to commit to karma as an imposition on bhakti is very deep. Doing karma and imposing bhakti on it, or doing karma with the fruit, doing bhakti with the fruitive desire. So that's why Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying he has met so many pandits and they think that this is bhakti. Bhakti mixed with jnana uh, uh, is pure bhakti, or bhakti mixed with karma is pure bhakti. They are so proud that if they hear the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, they say everyone can make their own conclusion. What is the need of taking the conclusion of Chaitanya Charitamrita? Chaitanya Mat, what is the need for Chaitanya Mat? These people never come in touch with Sadharma because they have no desire to know it. The result of performing their own concocted new process of devotional service is they can never relish pure devotion. Bhukti mukti spruha yavat pishachi ridhi vartate. Tavas katam sukam Tavas katam bhakti sukasya abhido bhayet. I'm not able to recollect the second line. As long as the desire for bhukti, that is enjoyment, and mukti, the desire for liberation, Riddhi, in the heart it is there, which are compared to Pishachi. Till then, how can one relish pure devotion? Tavat katam bhakti. Bhakti here means nirgun bhakti or sarup siddha bhakti. One has never relished it, you know. So he will never know what is, the relish of pure devotion. Because the heart is covered by bhukti and mukti spruha. It is the duty of the sadhaka to give up personal enjoyment for the sake of Krishna. So here Bhaktivinoda Thakur is talking about one angas, which I will just bring out. Bhogadi Varjanam. Krishna Prite Bhoga Tyag. So this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking. Krishna Prite Bhogadi Tyag. That's what he's speaking here. Sense gratification is called enjoyment. How many of you have come across this term sense gratification before coming to ISKCON? Raise your hands. I feel none. We never heard this because that was the natural thing to do. You are doing sense gratification. So this is a new term coined by Prabhupada, sense gratification, and Bhaktivinoda Thakur also is using this term. To gratify the senses, to enjoy the senses is enjoyment. Sense gratification called enjoyment. Devoting one's lust for sense gratification in the service of Krishna is renunciation of enjoyment. To reside in a holy place related with Krishna is also a limb of sadhana. Krishna Vasa Stale. We are now discussing that limb. When one converts his world of enjoyment into what is favorable for devotional service and thus giving up the spirit of enjoying those objects and accepting everything as Krishna Prasad, then this is called renunciation of enjoyment. So, what is renunciation of enjoyment? I like some items, but I prepare exclusively for the deities. And then on a higher level, I feed all others. And if something remains, I have. That is the sense of renouncement. Bhogartha Tyaga, Krishna Priti. To reside in a holy place related with Krishna is also a limb of sadhana. If one, I think this definition was there in the previous slide. Oh, yes, it was. Devotedly one's okay. To reside in the holy place related with Krishna is also a limb of sadhana. If one resides in Dwarka, Sri Mathura, on the bank of Ganges, or at pastime sites of the Lord, then one naturally remembers Krishna. What greater gain can there be than this? So one of the highest advantages of staying in a holy place is that one can continuously remember the Lord. The Lord's holy name is being always, glorified there. You can hear that. At every stage of life, one should accept only as much wealth as needed for the practice of devotional service. By desiring more than needed, bhakti disappear. So this now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking about a limb, which is Yavan Nirvaha Pratigraha. Yavan Nirvaha Pratigraha. One should acquire a livelihood just that is just sufficient to keep the body and soul together. So accumulating too much of food, too much of money, all that is being uh, spoken here. It will disappear if you acquire atyahar, if you do shadvir bhaktir vinakshati. If wealth is not accepted according to one's need, however, then the practice of devotional service will be hampered. Please mark this. Then the practice of devotional service will be hampered. It will be hampered. So these two have to be carefully noted by sadhakas. Bhakti will be disappear. Now Dhatri and Tulsi, Tadiya Seva. One should carefully respect Sri Hari Vasar Ekadasi. By observing Ekadasi, all the supporting principles of devotional service are practiced. So today is a very auspicious Ekadasi. Today is Amalaki Ekadasi. And somehow we are discussing about this point. Now, where is this? Ekadasya Upas. So this is one of the Angas. One must fast on Ekadasi. Fasting means that renounce, you fast from sense object and feast on spiritual items. You feast the soul and naturally the body will fast. When the soul is feasting, the body can fast. When the body is feasting, then the soul is fasting. So based on this general principle, whatever is according to our capacity, we minimize the bodily needs and then perform more of devotional activities on Ekadasi. Ekadasi is called as Hari Vasara, Sri Hari Vasara, because it is the day incarnation of the Lord. Krishna is manifest on this day. The practice of devotional service becomes continuous by giving up all enjoyment and practicing devotional service once every fortnight. So please remember, for Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti, the practice of devotional service should become continuous. Only when it becomes continuous, then you are actually practicing Shuddha Sadhana Bhakti. So, in order for this to happen, try at least every fortnight to feast on the soul and let the body fast. Then slowly, slowly, what you're doing that 15 days, once in 15 days, that means, you know, uh, twice a month. Then you start doing it every week, also once, and then on Ekadasi. So it becomes 6 times a month. And then increase that over a period of years, I'm saying. So this is what one needs to do. For one who worships and meditates on earth, banyan trees, Tulsi, cows, Brahmanas, and Vaishnavas, all the sinful reactions are diminished. By these activities, one can please Krishna because these objects are auspicious for the world. So now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is speaking about the limb, which is Ekadasi Upas, Dhatri Ashwata Go Vipra Vaishnava Pujana. Then he'll speak about Seva Prad, Nama Parad, Dhure Visarjan. So this is what is being discussed now. Of course, next time I will put the each limb also and make the slide so that we need not go back and forth. Yeah, here. These 10 limbs of devotional service are the preliminary activities for worshipping the Lord. For those who neglect these 10 limbs, attending devotional service and Krishna is very difficult. How many of you remember limbs? Please raise your hands. How many of you don't remember these 10 limbs? Raise your hands. No response for both. Don't remember. What about you, Nandini Mataji?
Hari bol Ruji. Or 10 limbs, I think
You know all
the
the
regular one.
10 limbs?
Shravanam Kirtan, those
Pardon?
means I'm not getting which ones exactly. Like, is it Shravanam Kirtan, those? But they are nine now.
We are discussing the 64 limbs of devotional service now.
Ha, the first
First 10.
10. Not all 10, Roji.
Ah,
Trimurti,
now make it a point. Now make it a point, and even I will make it a point that you take printout of these 10 limbs and stick it on your wall. Every day we should remember these 10 limbs. Because these 10 limbs, and among them the first three, which Bhaktivinoda Thakur discussed in detail, are the doorways for pure devotional service. They are the doorways. For those who neglect these 10 limbs, attaining devotional service in Krishna is very difficult. Therefore, those who aspire for devotional service first should first take shelter of Sri Guru, take initiation and instructions from him, and serve him. So he's taking the first three important potent limbs. They should also follow the behavior of the sadhus and learn the conclusions taught by sadhus, sadhu vritti. In order to make one's life Krishna conscious, one should reside in a sacred place and related to Krishna and give up enjoyment for sense gratification for the service of Krishna. In fact, now Bhaktivinoda Thakur is repeating these 10 limbs. In one's ordinary dealings, one should only accept the wealth that is necessary for favorably maintains Krishna's business. Krishna's business, not my home business. To practice devotional service, one should observe fasts on Ekadasi and Janmashtami. One should respect banyan trees in order to maintain the glories of this world, which is one of the Lord's opulence, because it is a vibhuti of the Lord. These 10 rules must be followed, and the following 10 rules must be rejected. Otherwise, the practice of devotional service cannot be studied. So now the 10 don'ts, which are the next from 11 to 20 items of devotional service. So the first, one should not associate with persons who are averse to the Lord's service. So uh, this begins from here. Vaishnava Sangatyag. This is the 11th limb. This is the don't. So first 10 are do's, and the next 10 are don'ts. Vaishnava Tyag. Then Bahu Shishna Karibe. I'm going back and forth because I have not mentioned this in the subtitles here. One will have to meet such people in his ordinary dealings, but one should deal with them only until the work is finished. Do your business and leave the place. After the work is finished, one should not deal with them. Those who have not had loving devotion to Krishna awakened in their heart and are always proud of remaining under the shelter of Gyan and Karma. Therefore, they are called Bhagavad Bahirmukh, averse to Krishna. Those who worship many gods, those who are Mayavadis and thirsty for impersonal Gyan, and those atheists who define the Vedic literatures are all Bhagavad Mahirmukh, averse to Krishna. So who are all these our I Vaishnava? All this he's giving the details. And those whose faith in pure devotion has not yet developed should not be accepted as disciple. Otherwise, the disciplinary chain of devotional service will be polluted. Baushishana karive. So this has to be a very important thing. Now, the process of initiation is that there has to be a development of faith in the Shishya. And he has to come to a certain point where his faith has developed. And then only the spiritual master evaluating him should accept him as a disciple. But those whose faith in pure devotional service has not yet awakened, he should not be accepted as a disciple. One should give up the endeavor for starting new big projects because it diminishes one's devotion to Krishna. So doing big projects, starting big projects, it diminishes one's devotion to Krishna. So here, this is there here as Bahugranth Kalabhyasam Vyakhyan Varjiva. I think Bahugranth Kalabhyasam, no. 12th item. One should avoid 10 offenses in the Vaishya. I'm not able to exactly. I think it is Bahugrantha. There only Prabhupada mentions, I think, of how one should not do big projects. Bahugranth Kalabhyasam is here. One should not read or explain various types of books except those which lead to the advancement of devotional service. So here it is again very clear. It's not that one should not read many Gaudiya literatures. No, one should not read many other literatures. One should discuss those scriptures wherein devotional service is instructed and explained, such as the Vedas, Smritis, Puranas, Pancharatra, and the writings of the Mahajans. And even when we study our Gaudiya literatures, especially given by our founder Acharya, we should study them systematically. And from the front page to the last page. And based on at which stage we are in our practice of Krishna consciousness. We are now in the beginning stage. We should not start studying which are for PhD level. From books with other opinions, only useless arguments are learned. So sometimes, I'm studying this point about Vairagya. Let me study from the Yoga Vashishta, the Gyan Shastras, and see what their opinions are. And then you'll start arguing on that with devotees, and only useless arguments will go on. The endeavor for food and clothing must always remain either in household life or in renounced life. Therefore, there is a need of generosity in such dealings. According to Padma Puran, alabdeva vinashteva bhakshas achad sadhane aviklava bhutva harim eva dhyasmare. The mind of one who has taken shelter of the holy name is undisturbed even if food and clothes are not easily obtained. Alabdve va vinashteva. Or if they are obtained but then lost, vinasht. Living beyond all material attachments, he takes complete shelter of Govinda. Harim eva diya smarit. So, oh, I lost this, oh, I lost this, lamenting like that. Or, oh, I want this, oh, I want this. If you are like that, then it becomes a disturbance in your bhajan. It becomes a disturbance in your bhajan. The purport is that whatever sadhaka stay, whether a sadhaka stays at home or in the forest, he will have to endeavor for food and clothing. A householder should find out his food and clothing through agriculture or business, protecting the citizens or by serving others. So how a householder should have get his food and clothing, it is meant. A renunciate should accomplish this by begging alms. In those activities, the devotee should not be agitated if food and clothing are not obtained or if they are obtained and then lost. He should peacefully remember Krishna. Householders lament if they lose their wife, children, etc. Because they are householders. They have wife and children. But a practitioner of devotional service should not maintain this lamentation very long. They should quickly give up their lamentation and engage in the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. A renunciate should not lament if he does not possess a quilt, a water pot, or other arms. of these things are stolen by a man or animal. A practicing Vaishnava should give up all urges like lamentation and anger. Otherwise, there will be obstacles in his constant remembrance of Krishna. Now, Bhaktivinoda Thakur has been discussing these limbs. Shokadir Vashana Hoibe. Hani Labha Sama. So he spoke about Hani Labha Sama. So that's what he's been discussing. It's very simple, straightforward, and clear. Okay. Otherwise, there will be obstacles in his constant remembrance. Now, it is explained in the Padma Puran. Shokamarshadibir bhaver akrantam yasya manasam katam tasya mukundasya spurti sambhavana bhavet. Within the heart of one who is full of anger and pride or lamentation, Shoka Amarsha Adibir, on the state of his wife or sons. Akrantam Yasamanase. Katam Tasya Mukundasya. There is no possibility of Krishna being menaced. Purita Sambhavana Bhavet. So one should become free from this lamentation for, one loses his wife, children. Those who endeavor for devotional service should only worship Krishna. Anya Devata na pujibe. They should not worship various demigods, but they should not also disrespect the demigods or the scriptures. Anya Shastra Ninda. Because the demigods are part and parcel of Krishna. And that's why one should not disrespect. When coming before a demigod, one should offer respect, knowing them to be Krishna's servant. In the Padma Puran, it is said, Harir eva sadar aradhya sarvadeveshwarishwarah itare brahmarudradhya naivagyeya kadachana. Krishna Hari is the master of all demigods. Sarva Deva Ishvara Deva Ishvara Ishvara. And therefore he is always worshipable. Eva Sada Aradhya. But this does not mean that one should not offer respect to the demigods headed by Brahma or Shiva. Itare Brahmya Rudradaya Nev Avagya Kadachana. It doesn't na avagya. Naiva na avagya. Geya. So Hari is the only worshipable Lord. It doesn't mean that we disrespect the Vaishnavas. That's the point. The purport is that the Supreme Lord is one, and the others, Brahma and Shiva, are his qualitative incarnation, Gunavatas. Particular demigods are worshipped by people according to their qualification. But Lord Vishnu is the only worshipable Lord for people who are in the mode of goodness. After worshipping various demigods for many lifetimes, one's life becomes auspicious when he comes to the point of accepting Vishnu as the only supreme Lord. Lord Sri Krishna is the topmost manifestation of Vishnu Tattva. When a living entity transcends the three modes by worshipping the mode of goodness, he attains the service of Lord Vishnu. One should be merciful and not cause anxiety to any living entity. Okay, so this is the next one being discussed. I will bring out which is that. Anya Devata, Anya Shastra Ninda na karbe, Vishnu Vaishnav Nindya. Oh, yeah. Neither by mind, words, should a devotee cause anxiety to any living entity, regardless of how insignificant he may be. Prani matre manovakya udvegna dive. So that is what is being discussed now here. Where is it? Here. One should be merciful and not cause anxiety to any living entity. The heart should always be filled with compassion for others. Exhibiting mercy to all living entities is one of the limbs of devotional service. A person aspiring for devotional service should carefully practice this characteristic. So, always having compassion for all living beings. This is, should carefully practice this. In the path of Gyan also, it is a regulative principle. Anyone knows where in the Gita, in the path of Jnana also it is mentioned that this is a regulative principle? Anyone knows in the Gita where it is? I am bringing out here. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. Welfare of the living entities. Engaged. That is spiritual welfare. So this is again the of a Jnani, because Krishna is comparing the process of Gyan and how it is difficult compared to the process of Bhakti and establishes how Bhakti is superior. So here also, and again in the fifth chapter also, Krishna mentions the Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. Let us put it in the search and see. Same, exactly the same line comes in there. Uh, 5.25. Labante Brahma Nirvanam Rishayashina Kalmasha Chinnadvaida Yatatmanam Yatatmanah Sarvabhuta Hite. For all living entities in welfare way, Rata engaged. Now, Prabhupada's purport is very, very, very insightful here. I'm just elaborating on this point that, exhibiting mercy to all living entities is one of the limbs. And Prabhupada, although this is the Jnana section, Prabhupada gives a purport from a pure bhakti perspective. Only a person who is fully Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in the welfare work of all living entities. And Prabhupada is now somehow making a point that the Jnani is self-interested. He's selfish because he wants liberation for himself. So that's why uh, he's not manifesting this quality. When a person is actually in knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, that when he acts in that spirit, he acts for everyone. The sufferings of the humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer, the supreme proprietor, and the supreme friend. So, why is the suffering in humanity? Because people have no knowledge that Krishna is the Bhoktaram, he is the Sarvaloka Maheshwara, and he is the Surida. So, because we are trying to enjoy independent of Krishna, that's why we are suffering. Because we think that the things belong to us in this world, because we are na sochati na kankshati, we are sochati and kankshati. So giving this knowledge will become people will become free from suffering. Therefore, to act to revive this consciousness within the entire human society is the highest welfare work. Sarva Bhuta Hite Rata. One cannot be engaged in such first class welfare work without being liberated in the Supreme. That means one who has attained Bhava and Prema, only he can attain in this work, kind of, because he has this realization. A Krishna conscious person has no doubt about the supremacy of Krishna. He has no doubt about, he has no doubt because he is completely free from all sins. Esham to antagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrata. और नष्ट प्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यम भागवत सेवाय भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर भवति नष्टि. Only then he can preach this. This is the state of divine love. Divine love, he says, Prabhupada. Very beautiful and insight purport. So one should try to carefully practice this. It is essential and aspiring devotee to give up the 10 offenses in chanting and the offenses in the matter of serving the Lord. Seva prad, nama prad, varjanam. For ordinary devotees, there is some consideration of offenses in serving the deity of the Lord. It is not possible to give up all the offenses in serving the Lord, but one must give up some of the offenses before entering the temple room. So again, one should have this list of these 32 offenses to the deities, which are mentioned in the Vara Puran, Sevaprads. The 10 offenses chanting has been discussed in many places. Bhaktivinoda Thakur himself has discussed this. The practitioner should carefully give up those offenses. Again, he is making this point here. If one doesn't give up the 10 offenses, then one cannot come to the offenseless stage of chanting. For those who are negligent in this regard, endeavoring for devotional service becomes useless. If you are not endeavoring to give up the 10 offenses, then your all service will become useless. So he quotes this from the Padma Puran. It is written in the Padma Puran, Sarva prada kridapi muchyate hari samshaya harer apya pradaya kuryad dvipad pamsava namashraya kadachit syad tarante eva namatah namno hi sarva suhrido hi aparadat patantyada. So what this Padma Puran verse says is, the purport is that if one takes shelter of Lord Hari, then all his offenses are vanquished. Sarva prada krit api munchante hari samshaya. Of course, here means if one has committed a lot of sins, by taking shelter of Hari, he will become free from all these sins. All offenses committed in the service of Lord are destroyed by taking shelter of holy names. If you take Namashraya, then all the Seva Aparadas are absolved. But here remember that if you commit Seva Aparads intentionally and you know that you have committed, and then later, in order to become free from those Seva Aparads, you chant the holy name, then it will be a Namaprad. Which Namaprad it is? Anyone knows? Which Namaprad? Yes.
Committing sinful activity on strength of the holy names of the Lord.
Namo baladi yasya papa buddhi. Seventh offense.
Mm.
The holy name alone delivers the Vaishnavas, but those who have taken shelter of the holy names must give up the 10 offenses in chanting. Otherwise, they will surely fall down even though they have taken shelter of the holy name. So, by taking shelter of the holy name, all your sins are absolved. You become free from all sins. But having taken shelter of the holy name, if you don't give up the 10 offenses of holy name, then you will also fall down. This is a very important verse. One should know this. A practitioner should not allow blasphemy of Krishna or Vaishnavas to enter his ears. Vaishnav Ninda. So that's why we have been focusing on these two important seminars called as the Vaishnav Ninda and the Namaprad Pramad, because these two are the main obstacles in the practice of devotional service. Vishnu Vaishnav Ninda. That's what Anya Shastra Ninda Na Karibe is being discussed. Okay, where are we? Yeah, here. Vaishnava Ninda should not enter the ears. Wherever such blasphemy is taking place, he should leave. Those who are weak hearts, who tarry out of social etiquette to hear blasphemy of Krishna or the Vaishnavas, are gradually distracted from devotional service. Oh, how I can, not hear this. He's speaking, so I have to hear it attentively. So, if it is not, you're not on the authority and to take cognizance and, rectify the situation, why here? So, this is very, very important. By careful practice of the above mentioned 20 limbs, one's bhava, devotional sentiment is awakened. So please mark this because sadhana bhakti, when you practice, sadhana bhakti will lead to bhava bhakti. Kriti sadhyat, bhave sadhya, sa sadhana bidha. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur is saying that if one takes care of the 10 do's and the 10 don'ts very carefully, he will, bhava, he will attain bhava bhakti. The mercy of Krishna is the root cause of awakening bhava. Without sadhu sang, one cannot achieve the mercy of Krishna. So it doesn't mean that, I'll practice these angas of sadhana bhakti and from nishtha to ruchi to asakti, I'll endeavor and I'll come to that. But with my endeavor from asakti to bhava, I cannot go. Ultimately, it is Krishna's mercy. Krishna bestows bhava to that sadhaka, seeing his sincerity. We cannot attain bhava on our own endeavors. Bhava is bestowed by the Lord's mercy. And in fact, the bhajan also which we do, that bhajan also by Krishna's mercy we are doing. And the anarthas also are getting destroyed not by our strength of bhajan, but seeing our sincerity, Krishna, Vidanoti Suritsatam. The principal forms of sadhu sang is taking shelter of the lotus feet of the spiritual master, taking initiation from him and serving him. So this is how we do sadhu sang. Among the other limbs of devotional service mentioned after these, accepting the symbols of Vaishnava up to meditation come under the category of Archana. One should practice all these limbs of bhakti to the best of one's capacity after receiving them from the spiritual master. Servitude, friendship, and complete surrender are the activities of awakening bhava. Sakya, Dasya, Sakya, Atmanivedanam. So among these Navida Bhakti, uh, Sakya, Das, Sravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandam, Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So Dasyam, Sakyam, Atmanivedanam. So these are very exalted, in fact. And although uh, like devotees considering, Krishna is my friend, it's very exalted level of consciousness. But these three are, quickly awakened bhava also. In reality, these activities themselves become bhava. Only in this stage of sadhana are they connected as sadhana bhakti. Whatever one's most cherished items are in this world and whatever is very dear should be offered to Krishna. This statement has several meanings. The purport is that one should not enjoy anything just because it is very dear to oneself, but one should offer it to Krishna and enjoy it as his prasad. That too, again, not in an enjoying spirit, in the spirit of that this is Krishna's mercy. Whatever ordinary and spiritual endeavors are there, when done for the sake of Krishna, they become auspicious. Like your work, it's not any varnashram duty you're doing. Agriculture, if you're doing, then it is, something Vaishya karma it is. But you're going to the office, that is lokika. But if it is done, oh, I am doing it, to maintain Krishna's family at home, then it becomes auspicious. It is said in the Narad Pancharatra and quoted in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Laukiki Vaidiki Vapi Vakriya Kriyate Mune Hari Seva Anukuleva Sakarya Bhakti Michata. One should perform only those activities, either worldly or prescribed by the Vedic rules and regulations, which are favorable for the cultivation of Krishna consciousness. So I'll stop here. Any questions or clarifications you have up till now, what we have discussed? Can raise your hands. Any questions, any clarifications? No. Okay. So we will need to go through it in another class because still it is a long way. And or can I take 15 minutes and finish this discussion because it's to be still briefly completed? Is it okay? You can type in the chat box. Anyway, we started today at 7:35. Another 10 minutes is there. Can I take this and complete it? Yeah. Yes, yes. Okay. Marriage and other purificatory ceremonies of the smarts are Vediki or prescribed Vedic regulations, and social and bodily activities performed to maintain one's status quo are Lokiki. So what is Lokiki and what is Vediki? Marriage is the establishment of Krishna's family. Producing children is for increasing Krishna's servants. So see this consciousness. I have to, there are deities at home and we need a lot of servants to serve. So that's why let me have children. So that, there are many to assist in the service of the deities. Offering obligations to the forefathers is for the satisfaction of Krishna's servants. Should see them as Krishna's servants. Feasting is for the gratification of Krishna's living entities. All these activities should be devoted in the favorable service to Krishna. Then one will not fall in the grip of unfavorable fruitive activities, karma. The body, house, and everything else belongs to Krishna. Thinking in this way, one should protect the body, the house, and the community. This is called Krishna's family. Manasa deha geho, jo kuch tumar, arpilo Nanda Kishore. The whole life of a practitioner should be decorated with full surrender. 6 types of surrender are explained in many places in devotional scriptures. The life of a living entity is useless without surrender. A living entity should always worship Krishna with full surrender. Uttara Thakur is speaking about Atmanivedanam. Items that are related to Krishna are called as Tadiya. Serving Tulsi is the primary form of Tadiya Seva. It is said in the Skanda Puran, Drushta Sprishta Tata Dhata Kirtita Manita Shuta Ropita Sevita Nityam Pujita Tulsi Shubha Navada Tulsim Devim Ye Bhajanti Dine Dine Yugakoti Sahasrani Te Vasanti Harer Grihe. Tulsi is auspicious in all respects. Tulsi Shubha. Simply by seeing, Drishta. Simply by touching, Sprishta. Simply by remembering, Manita. Simply by praying, Pujita. Simply by bowing, before. Simply by hearing, Shruta. About. Simply by sowing, Ropita. Simply by offering water, Sevita. Simply by worshipping Tulsi, Pujita, there is always auspiciousness. Anyone who comes in touch with a Tulsi tree in the above mentioned 9 ways lives eternally in Vaikuntha. Just see the glory of Tulsi. Literatures that substantiate devotion to Krishna are counted among Tadiya, like Madhurya Kadamni, Bhaktyaloka. All these are speaking about pure devotion. Srimad Bhagavatam is the topmost among them. In the same way, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita comments similar respect. Those who regularly read and hear these devotional scriptures are glorious. Holy places associated with Lord Krishna, such as Mathura, are appropriate residence for a practitioner. Among such places, residence in Mathura is the topmost. Of course, the inner portion of Mathura, which is Vrindavan. Residing in Sridham, Navdeep is as good. It is written in the Brahmanda Purana. Shruta smrita kirtita cha vanchita prekshita agata sprishta shrita sevita cha Mathura abhi Daini. One who hears about Shruta, remembers Smrita, glorifies, desires to achieve Vanchita, sees from a distance, like you're going by train and you see the Mathura Mandal, or you're flying and below is Mathura, comes near Gata, touches Parshita, accepts as one shelter Sevita, and serves Mathura, achieves fulfillment of all desires. So this is the glory of Mathura. Many people desire to come to Mathura and they're hankering for it many, many years, but they are not able to come. But even thinking about it like this, he will achieve his desire. And just yesterday, one of the families, the husband and wife are quite senior, almost 15 years practicing, and their children are not at all serious, and they're all well to do in their business fields. And I had told his son, that you should desire once to come to Vrindavan. Yes, Prabhuji, I'll try to come. I'll try to come. And yesterday it happened that because the parents are going for a parikrama to Vrindavan, the son decided with his wife now to also join for last 2 3 days. So just because this desire was sown in his heart, he's getting now the desire fulfilled of visiting Mathura. The devotees of Krishna are also counted among Tadiya. It is written in Adi Puran. Ye me bhakta jana partha na te bhaktas cha te jana mad bhakta nam cha ye bhaktas te me bhakta tamamata. Those who are my direct devotees are actually not my devotees, but those who are the devotees of my servant are actually my devotees. So they are also Tatiya. In regarding serving devotees, Rupa Goswami has quoted the following from the Adi Puran. Yavanti Bhagavad Bhaktir Angani Katihita Niha Prayashtavanti Tad Bhakta Bhaktir Api Buddha Vidu. The purport is that almost all the above mentioned limbs for serving Krishna are accepted in the service of the devotees. Like you're glorifying Krishna, if you glorify pure devotees, that is also an anga of bhakti. The reason for the use of the word almost is that the devotee should be worshipped by offering them Krishna Prasad. All other limbs, such as offering obeisances, remain the same. We offer obeisance to deity, we offer obeisances to the Vaishnavas. The practitioner should hold festivals according to his capacity. Organizing festivals in the association of devotees is a prominent activity. However, one should be careful not to associate with non-devotees in the course of holding such festivals. So this is what happens, I have seen, that too much of non-devotee association should be also avoided. There is need of organizing festivals on the occasion of the Lord's appearance day. One should maintain love and devotion while serving the deity. Archana with Preeti. Being attached to the impersonal aspect of the Lord, foolish people without proper consideration disrespect the deity. If they associate with devotees and properly consider, then they will see the need of serving the deity. One should relish devotional scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam with advanced devotees. So this is also an anga of bhakti. If one relishes devotional scriptures with rationalists, people fond of argument and dry speculators, then one's heart becomes dry and the awakening of transcendental mellows does not take place. It is necessary to associate with devotees. Jnanis and karmis are not counted amongst devotees due to their illicit desires. A practitioner of devotional service should associate with more advanced persons who are affectionate on the same path. Sajati Asha Snigdha Shri Bhagavat Bhakta Sangha. Otherwise, his heart will not take shelter of pure devotional service. So if you don't get Sajati Asha Snigdha, then you will not take shelter of pure devotional service. In the Hari Bhakti Suhada, it is written, Yasya Yat Sangita Pumso Manivatsyat Satad Guna Swakularadhye tato dhiman swayuttanya eva samshrita. All the qualities of a nearby object are reflected in a crystal. One similarly takes on the quality of a person with whom he associates. Therefore, in order to increase one's devotional sentiment in his own line, a wise person should take shelter of those who have the same temperament. So that's why taking shelter of advanced devotees who have particular mood, we will also develop that mood. One should be particularly careful in this regard. Association with Sahajiyas and Baulas yields unfavorable results. But if one associates with pure Vaishnavas who are followers of Srila Rupa Goswami, then pure love for Krishna is awakened. Among all limbs of devotional service, association with devotees is one of the main limbs. Kirtan, we have to do in association. Bhagavad, we have to do in association of devotees. Chanting, we have to do in association of devotees. Deity Seva, we have to do in association of devotees. So association remains central. Among all the above mentioned limbs of devotional service, the following five principal items are the best: worshipping the deity, relishing Bhagavatam with advanced devotees, associating with more advanced devotees who are affectionate, and in the same line, congregational chanting of the holy names and residing in Mandura. So you can see worshipping the deity, we have to do in association. Bhagavatam, again in association. Then Sadhu Sangha, then chanting association, residing in the holy dham also we should associate and not stay alone. If we further summarize, then chanting the holy names and serving the Vaishnavas are the topmost. It is written in the Padma Puran, Yena Janma Shate Purvam Vasudeva Samarchita Tanmuke Hari Namani Sadatishtanti Bharata. O descendant of Bharata, the holy names of Lord Vishnu are always vibrating in the mouth of one who has previously worshipped Vasudeva perfectly for hundreds of lifetimes. So that is the glory of chanting. Also from the Padma Puran, quoted in the Haribala, Nama Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nitya Mukto Bhinnatvam Nama Namina. So this is the glory of the holy name. Atah Shri Krishna Madi Na Bhavet Grayam Indriya Sevan Mukhe Hi Jivvado Swayam Eva Spuritada. This is the independent mercy of the absolute truth that he has given the holy name, which is direct association with the Lord. Bhinnatvam Nama Nami. Sri Mathura Mandal, the holy names of the Lord, devotional scriptures like the Srimad Bhagavatam, pure devotees and deities. These five items are transcendental. By associating with them, a devotee quickly attains bhava. So, these five potent limbs. In the process of Adnana Bhakti, these types of Vaidhi Bhakti are explained. Again, Raganaga Sadhana Bhakti is very powerful in the process of sadhana. When one practices devotional service by following in the footsteps of the residents of Vrindavan, it is called Raganaga Bhakti. Persons who are endeavoring for devotional service should follow the activities of Rajvasis with their body, mind, and speech. According to his qualification, a practitioner should engage in whatever activities are mentioned in either the process of Vaidhi Sadhana Bhakti or Raganaga Sadhana Bhakti. Someone may attain the highest result by practicing one of the limbs, and someone may attain the highest result by practicing several limbs, ekanga or bahuvanga. The unalloyed devotion of those who have exclusively taken shelter of the service of the holy names and the Vaishnavas does not find taste in other limbs. So if you take up these two paramount things, chanting, association with Vaishnavas. Therefore, the practitioner should work in devotion with full surrender, enthusiasm, firm faith, firm confidence, and patience. Tat tat karma pravartanat. Utsaha nishchay dhairya tat tat karma pravartanat. So that's how Bhaktivinoda Thakur ends the discussion. The point I would like to make here is that devotees should regularly study these 64 limbs from the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu and these articles like Tat Tat Karma Pravartana, and he'll find newer, deeper insights and swiftly from Vaidhi sadhana go to Raghunath sadhana and attain bhava for the Lord. Okay, I'll stop here. Any questions, any clarifications? Priya Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Pranam. Happy Ekadashi. Actually, I don't know whether I can ask this.
If it is related
When you
to the
mentioned,
if it is related to the topic only,
yeah, partially, like you mentioned Raga Anuga Bhakti, and there was something like Ragatmika. If you
hmm,
could explain later also what's the difference
yes.
between Raga Anuga and Ragatmika.
Ragatmika means the eternal associates of Vrindavan. They have pure spontaneous love towards Krishna. They are called as the Ragatmika Bhaktas. And when one crosses Anarth Nivritti and one is self-realized, then one is purified and is attracted to a particular residence of Vrindavan, particular mood of the residents of Vrindavan by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and all from a spiritual master. And now he wants to follow these eternal associates. So the eternal associates are Ragatmika Bhaktas, and following them, the sadhakas who practice bhakti are called as Raganuga sadhakas or Raganuga Bhakti. That bhakti which is practiced is called as Raganuga Bhakti. Is it clear? Is it clear, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Can you just repeat once? I'll just note it down.
The eternal associates who have spontaneous love in Sakya, Vatsalya, or Madhurya are the Ragatmika Bhaktas. And when one is purified by bhajan and crossed Anarth Nivritti, then he also, by hearing Shastra, he also is inclined to serve in a particular mood as the eternal residents. And he starts doing his bhajan following in the footsteps of the eternal associates. Anuga, Anuga means to follow. And that practice is called as Raganuga sadhana. Any other questions? Anyone else? As? Okay, so we'll stop here. Shri Bhaktyaloka ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai.